We got two things to recap. Two big things, frankly. We've been running long, but we've done one episode in the past 3 months.
If we're not doing episodes as frequently, I think we can do super long ones.
Where do you want to start?
Let's do Steven.
And this is a 2-part episode. Both of these are 2-part episodes. It's a Thanksgiving special, really, where Greg's cousin? Do we know who's related? Andy DeMeo returns to the barn after just flying around the world all frickin' his life, and is like, everything has changed. What is this shit? Who are these colorful lesbians who are living here?
Who are these lady hippie hobos? These hobettes.
And the episode is all about,
it's all about bridging the gap that everyone's been talking about ever since this election.
Yeah, it's a timely episode. Like, you mentioned this earlier, is that it feels like the writers of the show expected the election to go the other way. Much like everybody did. Like,
which is what everybody thought, I think. I mean, in my bubble, which is part of the problem.
We were all blindsided by it, and there are countless reasons for that we're not gonna go into. That's not what this show's about. But it was written with the expectation that Hillary Clinton was gonna win, and things were still gonna be shitty.
Right?
Because she would have, even if she would have won, things were still gonna be shitty.
Because all the people who supported Trump weren't gonna go away, even if he lost. We still had to deal with the fact that our country is incredibly divided on what it thinks is important and how it treats other people. Yeah,
and the way that we treat other people is really what this... that's what this show is about. This show is fundamentally about kindness. And
it's about empathy.
Compassion. And
not
empathy,
sympathy. Yeah. Empathy. The difference is significant. Sympathy is when you feel bad for someone. Like, someone died. I'm sorry. Empathy is when you feel what they feel. Hence, like an empath. Steven's an empath. When someone's in pain, he feels their pain. But not only is he empathetic, he's also active. He feels the feelings of the people around him, and he uses his abilities to take action to rectify the problems that people are having. And that's what is really, really special about Steven as a character and as a show. Because that's this very idealistic, optimistic way of fixing our problems, both personal and interpersonal.
And that's what happens in this episode. Like it's 22 minutes of Steven, like, this guy's my family, and no matter what, I am going to make a connection. I'm going to make him feel welcome.
Yeah.
That's not even the thing. He's not even, like, trying to get him to understand. His goal isn't to let him stay in the barn.
And he feels empathetic to him. Like, even though this guy is kind of antagonistic, he feels for his struggle, and he wants to understand his struggle. Even though he has every right not to.
You can see that even though this guy's being a jackass about it, like, he's not coming out of nowhere. Like, his life has disappeared in the time that he's been gone.
Yeah.
Like everything's been torn out from under him, and Steven is trying to address that specifically, what the actual problem is, and not the symptoms of this guy being an abrasive jerk. He goes further, and he's being an abrasive jerk because he's hurting, and he's hurting because he feels like his life has been taken from him. The stability that he relied on is gone.
Yeah, and he feels alone, and everything's changed, And I feel like that's what a lot of people must feel. Like, things are changing so fast. It's so hard to keep up with the internet and the discourse and the Tumblrs and all these new words and political correctness and all this stuff. Like, and I get it.
Yeah, like, I know a lot of people, like, frankly, our parents, like, they are very well-meaning. They are progressive at heart. Mm-hmm. But there's just a lot of stuff they don't get, because a lot of this discourse, a lot of, it's very recent.
It is, and fast moving, and it's so hard to keep up, and it's like, and it's not only that, like, people think things are a certain way, and change is just change is hard for everybody.
Especially a change as fundamental as what Andy had to go through of like accepting that this is his new family. This is his new home life.
Yeah.
You know, everything is different now. And
you know, his family isn't even human. You know, they don't even function the same way he does fundamentally. Yeah. You know, it's not just a matter of like where they come from and what they believe in. Like it's this very extreme thing.
And as a political allegory, it's certainly very uplifting. I mean, parts of it work and parts of it don't. I really feel that, like, with a lot of this stuff, there's stuff that we can't back down on. And I think, and that's what's frankly most worrying
Steven
about.
has always been about seeing the best in everybody and choosing to pursue that.
Here's the thing, is that, like, the thing about Andy that differentiates him from what is the problem in this country and the world at large is that where he's coming from isn't a place of fundamental hate.
Right.
He's not a hateful person.
And there are a lot of Andys out there who, you know, not everybody who voted for Trump is fundamentally hateful. Which, I mean, took me a while to digest, but it's true. A lot of them are like Andy, who's not a bad person or has the potential to be a very loving and accepting person. But they're, unfortunately, and I've had Andys in my life. We've all had Andys in our life. And that's what Thanksgiving is kind of about for most of us, is dealing with the Andys in our life. But unfortunately, there are people who are more intense and difficult than Andy, who are fundamentally hateful. And I don't know if this technique works, because you can't change anybody's mind about anything if you're coming at them antagonistically. And that's the truth. If you're gonna argue with somebody who has beliefs different than yours, say they're in your family, you can't come at them saying that you're right and they're wrong, because no work will be done. No gap will be bridged. And I'm willing to work with people to bridge gaps with the relationships in my life that I think are valuable. You know, some of my grandparents are really racist against the Japanese, for instance, because of the World War II. But, like, they're progressive in other ways, and it's like, you know, it's hard, but I can make it work for me. But, like, there are some people you just can't do this with. And Steven hasn't presented us with that quite yet. I mean, I guess Jasper is someone you can't help. But Jasper was, like, put away so she can't hurt anybody. What do you do if this is somebody that, like, you can't just, like, put them in a bubble so they can't hurt themselves or anybody else?
I mean, maybe we'll see that addressed with the Yellow Diamond.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't want Steven Universe to continue to be allegorical. I feel like political allegory is not its... I think going forward, it's not the best way to go, because politics is so bad and toxic and putrid right now, and
hard.
I feel like what Steven Universe, the television show, succeeds at most is empathy on an interpersonal level.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that maybe it couldn't expand its scope, but I feel like that's what it's very, very good at, and that's still very, very important.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this episode just kind of solidified the idea that Steven really does exist in a different world from mine. You know, not just because of fantastical aliens and stuff, but, like, because of everything we've been talking about. It's gonna take 9 months for the episode log to catch up with the way things are right now. I still think we need Steven, and we still can learn a lot from Steven. Yeah. But it's hard to be so blindingly optimistic sometimes, especially now.
Yeah, there are times when it comes across as kind of reductive.
Yeah, it feels
not
like... Not
Steven necessarily, but that attitude.
It feels like, yeah, I guess reductive is the word, or like patronizing. So I hope going forward...
Yeah, because I mean,
they don't do any
I'm not going to get on a soapbox here.
I just hope going forward they don't do any more of these kind of allegorical political things, because I don't know if I can take it.
I mean, I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but things are about to get very, very bad. And
we're in a very
frankly, I appreciate the escapism
place. Nothing is normal. So on that note, let's go to the weird, wacky world of Adventure Time, which decided to turn into season 6 again.
Yeah, I felt like this show was starting to answer shit, and then this, like, okay, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I felt it was first like a lot more fun than like season 6 at its season 6iest. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And like this was the season finale, so like since this season was all about tying up loose ends, they had to like raise some questions, and I think Susan Strong was a good place to go because that was one of the questions they didn't answer this season.
Yeah, like Susan Strong has always, and episodes regarding her and that whole thing has always been a hotbed of some of the like deepest lore in this show that they've never bitten all the way into it.
Yeah, like, and since they kind of cleared the air with a lot of these other things, I think that they're like, okay, maybe we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if they would have tried to do this in season 6 along with everything, well, they did a little bit with Super Porp season 6. I feel like it was.
I don't remember where the Porp. I don't remember which. I remember the Porps. I don't remember when and where they came from.
Yeah, which is where we saw she had the cyborg side, because originally in Buitopia he put his hand on her neck and he's like, Susan, and we didn't, and there was a lot of things that could have meant. Presumably is that she didn't have the gills. It was season 6, yeah, and frankly it was in a season where there just wasn't that much room for it, but here we are following it up in a season where there is more room for it. I mean, now the show has enough room to breathe to really address this. Although that's not to say that it doesn't have any other big plots going on, because they did introduce Patient St. Pim and then not get back to it since. And I don't remember how many episodes ago that was, because it's been a while since there's been a new episode.
Oh, yeah.
But here we are. Yeah, Patient St. Pim was billed in that episode as the new villain, because the Lich he's not here anymore. Yeah, that's not coming back.
The boat has sailed.
The Vampire King thing was introduced and put to bed in Stakes. The Ice King hasn't been a villain since Holly Jolly Secrets.
Yeah. Though I do feel like this new human stuff is kind of leading, because most of the stuff that wasn't put to bed in Stakes had to do with the humans, and now we're going back to the humans again. So it's not like it came out of nowhere.
The last episode before this one was Daddy-Daughter Card Wars, which aired July 7th. It's been a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, like, we completely didn't realize that these were airing. Like, it was on a hiatus, and I guess they just decided the season needed to end on some kind of note or something. I have no idea why they just randomly aired it.
I don't know why they aired them now. I mean, they've been sitting on these for a while. We've known about these.
Yeah, like, I don't know why they aired it now randomly. And then that's the season finale. Like, my dad, he researched the ratings, and it was abysmal for these 2 episodes. Really? It was terrible. And it was like, yeah, I kind of believe it, because nobody knew it was happening.
Yeah, they can't, I don't know.
Whatever. And Adventure Time can afford it, so.
I mean, Adventure Time has those other 2 seasons, has the rest of its run already ordered.
Yeah, so.
They would have to cut it short early, which, this show would need to start bombing all over the place for them to do that. Not just like one episode doing badly.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
what happens, Nikki? What happens in this episode?
Episode 1, their
pre-boot.
Finn and Jake are with Susan. They're exploring some old arcade in or near Buitopia, or maybe not even near the remnants of human society. And while they're doing that, Tiffany shows up with a robo arm, and invites him into this narwhal spaceship where a person named Dr. Gross has been, what she says, like, just like kind of forcing evolution on its way by making hybrid animals in a song which evoked. Did it evoke Portal to you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, it evoked Portal.
Especially this
to
whole
me.
Like science is great. Science is great.
Yeah. That whole thing, and then she wants to start adding mods to Susan and Finn
and Jake. Like she does a lot of splicing.
Yeah, she's like how Adventure Time would write a Resident Evil villain.
Yeah, pretty much.
And which is to say with fucking charm. Susan's hat gets knocked off to reveal the like cyborg panel that was in the side of her head that we saw in Dark Purple, which I forgot about until I saw it again. I forgot
about that too. I forgot that we had seen it.
Season 6 is such a goddamn blur for me. I mean, like I'm looking at some of this stuff here. Like obviously, like Graybill's 1000 plus, my favorite ever probably. I'm looking at some stuff and it's coming back to me, but like
Susan,
they escape using Susan's incredible strength. And she was using Finn and Jake as weapons against.
And she also mysteriously knew the layout of the laboratory.
And had, like, access by making dial-up noises.
Yeah.
So they escape, and at the end of the episode, it turns out it's some giant electric eel is heading to the Candy Kingdom, so they gotta take care of that.
Yeah, all the splice monsters get out.
Or many of them do. Many of them probably perish in the explosion, along with Tiffany.
Tiffany saved them. Remember Tiffany.
I like Tiffany a lot better in this episode than the last time we saw him. Because he was like... His dialogue was kind of overwrought last time in the episode with the ants. I forget what it was called. Dentist. Whereas here, he's a lot more relaxed in this episode.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is just like the way that this show works where people calm down.
I love how he's like, I have a brother bond with Jake. Not as much with Finn, but,
Yeah, to a lesser extent with Finn. So they go to take care of the worm, the electric eel. They're fighting in the field.
I forgot that Finn was immune to electricity.
When did he get immune to electricity?
I don't remember.
Did that happen?
It happened.
I
remember that was a thing now that they brought it up.
I thought the joke was he was immune to fire and then just has also built up other immunities.
I don't remember.
He's got the right accessories equipped. Fuck, Jake with the net gun?
Yeah, I was like, why does he keep fucking up these birds? It's brutal.
And the like really meaty sound effect and his complete lack of expression.
Yeah, it's like, Jake, what are you doing?
And anyway, Susan Strong goes to attack the eel. She isn't immune to electricity, and that triggers her cyber parts on her head. And she turns into a Murakumo unit.
Yeah, sure, something. Fuck it, I don't know. She's a directive. She's a robot.
So her whole goal is to get Finn somewhere. And she goes on a total rampage getting that done. Bringing him all the way to the beach from season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think those may have been the same backgrounds from when they were doing Poots on Newts.
Poots on Newts. Those are such simpler times.
Although that episode foreshadowed some pretty heavy shit that they addressed later. Because there was a whole Afraid of the Ocean thing.
Right.
And also, that was the first episode, if I'm not mistaken, to show ruins of modern human society.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Those were superficially simpler times.
Right.
But yeah, so there's a big fight on... Oh, she when she's in the Candy Kingdom, she gets
another form.
She
gets lasered by the gumball guard. I love how Princess Bubblegum was like, don't kill her, she's our friend, but you gotta stop her. So he shoots her with a laser beam, and she absorbs the energy and goes into her second form.
Yeah. She mega evolves.
No, it was more Dragon Ball Z to me, where it was just like...
More Dragon Ball, yeah.
Yeah, so...
just too many muscles.
And like, if everyone seems kind of oblivious, like they don't really realize that there's some kind of computer in her brain. Like Finn's like, why don't you just talk to me? If you want me to go somewhere, I'll probably go.
I don't have anything else to do today.
I like to go to places. And they fight. A lot of stuff comes back. Rattle Balls comes back only to be destroyed.
I was like, what the fuck, man? You can't keep killing these beloved characters who've only been in one other episode. At least we got to fucking see him go out on, like, Root Beer Guy.
Right.
And also, his death was significantly less extremely mean-spirited than Root Beer Guy. It's like, remember how mean-spirited that was?
It was really mean-spirited.
It was, like, from a fucking Billy and Mandy. That might have been, like, even too mean-spirited for Billy and Mandy.
I don't know. And then we see the return of the Jake suit.
Yeah, for when they fucking wrestle each other for a while.
Wow, they'll wrestle on the beach. Well, eventually, Finn bops her one and breaks the robot thing off, and she becomes herself again. But then his grass arm's like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to get some shit done. And I got real scared for a bit there, and I was like, don't you fucking dare with this shit. But Finn manages to get the grass sword to stop choking Susan.
He gets it to stop choking Susan, but what it does do is disconnect and integrate the Finn sword into some kind of grass homunculus.
Grass
Finn. And then the episode abruptly
Also, Finn
ends.
doesn't have his arm again. Because they also made the illusion with the bio arm, and Finn being like, I think bio arms are really cool. It's like, okay. We're gonna still with the arm thing. Why am I still surprised?
Yeah, like I was supposed to, like, well, they're not gonna do it again.
Nope, we're just gonna keep doing it.
No, fourth times, why not? Yeah.
So that was Adventure Time.
So now we got these two things to do.
Oh yeah, another important thing. Her robot head sent out a signal to somewhere, and we saw it get received.
Oh, yeah, like a fucking Apple II somewhere.
Yeah, some kind of domestic, human, normal-looking place. You know, so that and the grass fin. Pretty sure that what's her face, Dr. Gross, is dead. She was pretty cool. Yeah, I liked her design.
Yeah, I looked up who she was and I didn't recognize her. There is an upcoming episode called The Light Cloud, which is going to have Susan Strong in it, that parallels The Dark Cloud, which was the final part of Stakes.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, what the hell was that? That thing wasn't really explained. But I mean, it was one of those things where it wasn't explained, but it didn't really bother me. It wasn't explained because it was like taken care of.
I guess it's a vampiric essence or something. We've got the names of 6 season 8 episodes. The Light Cloud, His Strangeness, which is going to have Mr. Pig in it. Wheels, which is going to have Kim Kil-Wan in it. And then the other ones are Do No Harm, Abstract, and Two Swords. Do No Harm has Starchy and Mr. Fox. Because like, single
I love Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox rules. Abstract, we don't know shit about. We know about these because, like, single storyboard panels have been released. Okay. And then a BMO episode, or an episode with BMO in it called Two Swords.
Okie doke.
We have no release dates for any of these.
Finn needs to get a new sword again. He lost both of his swords at once. It's like,
maybe that's what that episode is about. It's like, I'm gonna fucking hedge my bets this time.
Like, BMO's right. Why do bad things happen to Finn? He's really grown as a kid. I was gonna say, like, let him have a sword. He can't even have a sword. He didn't even want to use the dang sword. The whole time he was like, I'm not gonna hurt Susan.
Anyway, all right, that is all of our shit.
That's a mega ultra duper super long episode. I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
Hungry. Get some chips.
Tweet at us or email us if you got something to say to us.
Were there any shout outs that you read that you wanted to mention, or I haven't?
Haunted Spacebar on Tumblr did art of the two of us with like a little portrait of Tooch.
Where? Oh, I didn't see that.
Like, it just dropped. Go to the email.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very, very cute. We like it a lot.
Oh, so cute. Thank you.
And here's the thing. I got a new job, so now I don't have the beard anymore, so all the art is accurate.
Yeah.
All the art that people made of me with no beard is accurate.
And I got
now.
my hair cut, so my art's accurate too. My hair isn't as stupid long anymore. It's like a reasonable long now. Yeah, we're not quite sure about our branding yet. We've been kind of lazy.
Yeah, we want to get like back in the saddle all the way before we work on that. I mean, we know people who, and we're gonna pay whoever it is.
We're sorry, but hopefully you'll forgive us.
So I want to get back to a weekly schedule. Neither of us have anything big coming up, I don't think. See, November was just a really busy month.
Yeah, November was kind of crazy.
And we're sorry.
Let's see.
And we're sorry for it, but
one shout out I want to do. Nikki was on a podcast called The Crack Ship, where he talked about Guilty Gear. So if you want to hear Nikki talk completely about Guilty Gear, there you go. Unrestrained. And I am going to be recording an episode of The Crack Ship this Friday, actually, about Ever After High. So you can look forward to that as well.
Oh, that's the first time hearing about this. I'm really excited about that. It is hosted by a voice acting friend of mine, Adox, who's just really cool. And it's just a show about she gets a person on to talk about their favorite ship from their favorite piece of media. So I just talked about Sol and Kai, which, listen, if you're listening to that and like, but they're in-laws, I addressed it. They weren't always in-laws, and they just found out.
I'm going to talk about Apple. Because what she does, she asks you to pick one character and go through all the different ships that exist, which one you prefer, explore some more creative options out there. It's kind of fun. It's cute. It's short. Nikki's was the longest, because of course it was.
Because you can't get me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about Apple White.
Crack Ship.
But, it might take a while for that to go up. But, we'll link it.
It's soundcloud.com/thecrackship. I don't think it's on iTunes yet. So, as for going forward, expect Princess Tutu soon, but it may not be the next thing.
Yeah, we're not 100% sure what the next thing is. And some crazy shit might end up happening, and we might not end up doing it next week. But know that we're alive. And we're here, and we want to do this.
Also, if you gotta be watching Yuri on Ice, man. You gotta pay for that crunch. You gotta watch this.
I'm gonna buy the shit out of that DVD. Important. Like I've been illegally downloading or streaming the dub because it's behind a paywall. Yeah. Which if I had Verve, I wouldn't have to do.
Which won't be a thing after the Verve. Yeah,
it's just fun for me.
Yeah,
but I watch each episode 5 times. Like
she's like me with Homestar.
Ruined and made my life beautiful at the same time. I feel like a mess.
We will, as the week that the final episode airs, we will do an episode on it.
Yes.
It's still got a ways to go.
Yes, we will.
And I am right now not feeling our typical theme months. Like, don't expect holiday stuff in December or...
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do Halloween. I don't think we'll do
Japanuary. I don't think we'll do Japanuary this year because,
we're just kind of doing whatever we feel like right now.
Yeah. Maybe next year, guys.
Sorry.
And maybe we'll do like one Christmas thing.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do one thing.
Don't expect a month of stuff though. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us and for listening to all this. I really do love and appreciate every one of you. Your dedication to us doing this is really helps make it worthwhile, and we would have never gotten this far, I don't think, if we wouldn't have had this really tight community of supporters behind us. And the podcast is still in a transitionary period, but we're gonna power through.
Yeah.
In some form or another, we're gonna power through.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to say, Nina?
Again, I'm very grateful. I appreciate anybody who's still listening. if you're still listening. We're trying, I'm trying. It's a transitional period in a lot of ways for us, not just with this, but in our personal lives. And so, I'm glad. I had a lot of fun today. I really did have a lot of fun today.
I've been Nikki.
I've been Nina.
And thank you for tuning in.